Hi guys, DIY Mark. I love to tackle most any project, but when it comes to drywall finishing, my experience is limited. Drywall finishing is one of those projects that is just as much art as it is procedure. I've convinced my drywall contractor, Luis, and his son to give us a glimpse of what he does every day. Luis has been installing drywall since he was 17 years old. I spent some time with his team and picked up so many tips and tricks. Plus, I was just amazed on how efficiently they get the job done. I've tried to capture some of their actions here so we can all improve our game. This job is a remodel of a small apartment that had us strip all of the common walls down to studs to improve the soundproofing. I hope to make a future video that will go over all the construction details of what we did to mitigate the sound transfer between rooms. All of the drywall has been rehung and there were a lot of patches to the ceiling and adjacent walls. Luis starts with filling all the screw holes in the drywall and fixing any defects the patches created or done during the drywall hanging. Using a smaller 6-inch knife, he makes quick work of the screw holes, running his knife across the screws in a single sweep. He then begins the taping process. All of the joints where two pieces of drywall come together will get a tape joint. That includes the walls to ceiling transitions. He first lays a fairly wide layer of compound on the surface, then rolls out the paper and cuts it to the right length. Then embeds the tape into the compound. He prefers using paper on new drywall over mesh tape. He tells me mesh tape, or what he calls fast tape, is best for old work such as patch joints. Paper provides a smoother finish on new work. One key difference between my amateur experience and Luis is all of the joint compound he is applying is fast set compound. Fast set mud, or sometimes called hot mud, uses additives to regular joint compound to make it harden faster. Only about 20 to 40 minutes rather than drying overnight. This allows him to quickly transition from preparing the walls to the ceiling without a long delay to wait for the mud to dry. Luis explained to me that he will refloat the entire ceiling to create a smooth surface. Even though our patches only damaged a small portion of the ceiling, in order to create a consistent look, it's best to reskim the whole ceiling to avoid any seams from showing through and create a uniform textured surface. It starts with mixing the hot mud compound. Since it hardens so quickly, you only have about 15 minutes to work with before it starts to set up. Since this is a small job and Luis is working alone today, he'll be mixing up a single tray at a time since it sets up so quickly. He uses a recipe of 1/2 regular pre-mixed joint compound and 1/2 40-minute quick set dry compound. Luis first adds a couple of cups of clean water to his tray, then adds about 2 scoops of dry 40-minute set compound and mixes it to consistent paste. He then mixes an equal amount of pre-mixed compound to the fast set mixture. He tells me he likes the mixture of the two because it makes it easier to apply, but it still hardens fast. Once the compound is smooth, he starts work quickly. So you're kind of starting in the corner and then pulling away from the corner.
Right.
You're using on what, a 12-inch knife?
That's a 12-inch knife.
Now as you put it on, are you trying to get it even or are you just trying to get it up on the ceiling?
No, it'll be even.
Get it all even right away. Each pan covers about 25 square feet and then he mixes up another pan. The whole mixing and application process takes him less than 10 minutes. I notice as he works, he flips the tray. One edge is for loading the knife and the other edge of the pan is for scraping the knife. A subtle trick that years of experience has made it an unconscious habit for him. The end result is a ceiling that is smooth and flat and ready for new texture. The next day, his son arrived on the job to prepare for texturing the walls and ceiling. To match the rest of the house, the walls will have a medium orange peel texture, meaning the texture that looks like the skin of an orange, and the ceiling will have a heavier knockdown texture. Much of the texture work is preparation. Junior covers the entire floor with plastic sheeting. The texturing process is messy and fills the air with gypsum. He then covers all the walls with plastic as well. He uses a staple gun with short leg staples to hold up the plastic. He showed me a tip where he shoots each staple through a small piece of drywall tape as he fastens the sheeting to the top of the wall. The tape reinforces the plastic where the staple is applied, preventing it from tearing through prematurely. He also takes the time to cover any other openings, such as canned lights, HVAC registers, and wall outlets with paper. The texture will get everywhere once the spraying commences. All of the walls are covered with the ceiling exposed. Luis starts with the ceiling texture because a bit of overspray on the walls is of no consequence. Ceiling first, then walls. Spraying texture is a two-man job. You have to work fast and with purpose. Junior mixes up the compound using a drill paddle and a 5-gallon bucket. Working together, the mixture is sifted through a kitchen strainer before it enters the texture gun hopper. Luis shows me the large unmixed particles, which he calls trash, that would otherwise clog the gun nozzle during spraying. A single hopper of texture would cover about 30 feet with Luis's gun. It looks to be about 1.5 gallons. The compound is very wet, about the consistency of pancake mix. How long before you, how much time do you have before you have to knock down?
About 10 minutes.
And you want to do the walls before you get this, knock down the ceiling?
Yeah, I have to do the walls because if I don't do the walls before that, I'm gonna get overspraying the ceiling.
Gotcha.
So,
That's fast.
yeah.
Immediately after texturing the ceiling, Luis begins pulling down the wall plastic, as Junior mixes a wetter, thinner compound for the walls. As he pulls down the plastic, he uses the overspray to fill the small holes the staple holding up the plastic has created. The process is the same. The two of them work together to mix and fill the gun hopper. The only change is the large amount of air he allows to flow into the gun.
If I just do one coat, it just doesn't blend in like even.
It just looks splattery, huh?
Yeah.
After the second application of wall texture, the real artistry begins, as Luis turns his attention back to the ceiling. With a 10-inch knife in one hand and a 6-inch in the other, he begins to trowel the tips of the ceiling texture, knocking down the peaks. It is fascinating to watch him work. There are no knife edge marks as he progresses, and he works fast. The texture will be in this perfect semi-dried condition for just a few minutes. Like over here?
Yeah, and you can see like this is getting like ready. You know, it's getting dry here.
So you need to go.
It's good to do like these little spots here, you know. But you can see like this is wet.
Ah. He moves from one part of the ceiling to another, looking at the reflection of light off the ceiling to determine if it's ready for troweling. I notice he keeps eyeballing the knife, and I ask him what he is doing.
No, because the knife is not straight.
Ah.
There's like all the knives are like this.
Gotcha.
So you have to go like
You want to keep the
where you have to use this
the
side.
middle part of it.
Yeah.
He explains that the knife has a crown to it, something I did not know. He wants the crown of the knife to make the contact with the ceiling as he drags it across to create a smooth finish without knife lines. Once completed, the ceiling is flawless. It will take a good 36 hours for all the water to evaporate and be ready for primer and paint. I want to thank Luis and his son Junior for letting us see a drywall master at work. I have an even greater appreciation for the artistry that goes into drywall work. I hope you've learned a tip or two and can appreciate the trade a bit more. Too often a trade like drywall goes unnoticed. Often when the drywallers arrive, it means a day off for the rest of us. But behind the scenes, these guys are making all of us look good. I'd like to hear your thoughts and maybe tell me what other trades are the unsung heroes at the job site. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.